We have extraterrestrial technology over there that we have received from two separate sources. Some of the hardware was retrieved as a result of several crashes that have taken place. I mean, we know about the crash at Roswell. Don't doubt for a moment that happened. That's all true. That took place. There was a crash at Kingman. There was a crash at Aztec. There have been crashes all over the United States. There were crashes right outside of LA. There was a crash in Washington State some years ago. A couple of crashes in Mexico that we retrieved the hardware. Not only did we retrieve the hardware, but we retrieved bodies. Some dead, some alive. Some of the alive bodies we kept alive for quite a while. Rumor has it that at least one of them is still alive. Well, that's one story. The other story is there are 25 or 30 of those little guys over there at Groom Lake at about 20 levels down at S4 that are working with us, that gave us hardware. And we are not only putting bits and pieces together, but we are flying the aircraft and we are flying prototypes.
I believe there's an active disinformation campaign within our government to deny existence of UAPs, yes or no?
I don't have an answer to that.
As previously stated publicly, yes.
For decades, the public has been subjected to the truth about UFOs being hidden behind a wall of secrecy, lies, and psychological warfare. The U.S. government didn't just deny the existence of flying saucers, they weaponized disinformation to bury its truth. Yet some insiders refuse to stay silent. One man, U.S. Army Command Sergeant Major Robert Dean, claimed to have held NATO's highest security clearance, which was labeled Cosmic Top Secret. He came forward to tell another fascinating story, eerily similar to many others before him. Unfortunately, the government realizes the public's ability to grow smarter through identifying the massive amount of inconsistencies they produce. In doing so, they continue releasing decoy agents to keep the public's request for knowledge satiated with open-ended statements and recycled information using news organizations as their mouthpiece. We've seen expansion of this starting in the 80s.
Earlier in the show, we met Bill Moore. Joining us now is Jamie Chanderet, a television producer and director. Both began regular contacts with government agents regarding UFOs 6 years ago and amassed an enormous quantity of information about the government's UFO program. Welcome, gentlemen. Bill, tell us how you first got involved.
I got a phone call after appearing on a radio show from a man who said, "You're the only person we've heard talk about this subject who seems to know what he's talking about." He convinced me that he was a government intelligence agent and wanted to begin disseminating some information about UFOs to the public.
And the man Bill is referring to is Falcon, whom we've seen in shadow to protect his identity.
That's right. I didn't think that I could handle it all alone. The volume of material I was getting from Falcon was rather mind-boggling, so I got together with Jamie.
And we joined forces in June of 1982, and Falcon told us about MJ-12.
MJ-12 functions as a policy-making group relating to extraterrestrial activities and contacts and UFO activities within the United States. They make the policy, obtain presidential approval, and then field activities implement the policies.
How did you acquire the MJ-12 documents?
Well, they were mailed to me in a plain brown envelope, which contained President Truman's executive order establishing MJ-12 and the briefing document to President-elect Eisenhower, informing him of the 1947 crash in Roswell, New Mexico, and the recovery of alien bodies. Now then, there were follow-up postcards, Ethiopian picture postcards mailed from New Zealand with puzzles and riddles.
Right, the puzzles were clues. For example, for a stylish look, shop Suitland. This led us to the National Repository in Suitland, Maryland, where we discovered the existence of top-secret documents and filed a Freedom of Information request, which led us further to the Cutler-Twining document.
Now, all of our meetings with Falcon were secret.
Now, wait, gentlemen. Riddles, postcards, secret meetings, code words. Didn't you suspect somebody was pulling your leg?
Well, we always look for a hoax, but within every clue, there was always some verifiable fact.
So you were able to verify MJ-12?
Validating MJ-12 was difficult because we couldn't find any government agency that would admit publicly that they were aware of MJ-12's existence.
Well, so without validating it, how do you get from there to here?
Well, after hundreds of hours of research, we're working with experts trying to validate the documents. But most important, the contacts have grown to include Falcon and 9 other government agents.
And why do you believe them?
Well, because we've been able to meet with them, we've been able to check and verify credentials, and it's clear that they are in secret, need-to-know positions. Falcon's position, for example, gives him access to the MJ-12 infrastructure. Why don't we just hear it in his own words?
MJ-12 was a group of people within the government. MJ-12 was created by President Truman in the early 50s. And their job was to investigate, keep track of information pertaining to UFOs. Part of their job was scientific advancements. But their primary purpose was to keep track of the information coming in on UFOs and to analyze the information, both scientifically and in a way that would advance our technology. There are government officials and elected officials that are automatically briefed on the existence of the MJ-12 activities. These officials include the president, the vice president, as elected officials, the director of Central Intelligence, and the director of the National Security Agency. The MJ-12 policy is headquartered at the Naval Observatory in Washington, D.C. The United States Navy has the primary operational responsibilities of field activities relating to the MJ-12 policies. All information gathered in the field, not necessarily by Navy personnel, is transmitted to the Navy for analysis.
Other known government agencies feed information to MJ-12 through a top-secret cover project known to us as Project Aquarius.
Now, MJ-12 connects to select individuals within the National Security Council, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the White House Intelligence Unit, the National Security Agency, the Central Intelligence Agency, and the Defense Intelligence Agency. The research is conducted, the data classified and cataloged, all under the umbrella of strictest national security.
The MJ-12 table of organization created by Moore and Chandray purports to give us an understanding of a complex intragovernmental chain of command existing solely to oversee, organize, and administer the data on UFOs and ETs. Gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And called out the 5 talking heads on the major media. It was a major maneuver, and it kind of shook up the ufology world. He called out Lou Elizondo, among others. We reached out to them all to invite them on a cordial debate. Let's discuss this like grown men. We have received hostile responses to the invitation. Some were quite provocative.
All right, I'm going to assume then that you're not going to take up Dr. Stephen Greer on his offer to have a online live debate on third phase of Moon then.
Who's Greer?
There you go.
I'm kidding. Look, I don't negotiate with terrorists, bottom line.
Yeah, Lou's got some issues. He called you, like he says he doesn't negotiate with terrorists.
Yes, well, I mean, you know, myself and some people who work with me have been called terrorists, every other thing, traitors, because we're not willing to go along with this corrupt game, and we call it out.
Dr. Stephen Greer coming at you at different angles and all the sublets that they have around them coming at you. I mean, how hard is that to deflect all of that pressure?
I don't know what to tell you, man, but look, Heaven's Gate and Jim Jones comes to mind.
Insane, the moral high ground that he thinks he occupies in this situation.
I think it's turning people against each other. You have these 5 guys, and they have a narrative. They're not moving from it, and it's not the truth.
He will never debate with anyone that has any knowledge. And for him to say that Dr. Greer is a terrorist or is someone who is lacking in knowledge or truth is ridiculous.
You're telling us the truth. Everyone, the entire American public, has been lied to for decades.
Yeah, there's a sophisticated disinformation campaign targeting the U.S. populace, which is extremely unethical and immoral.
You are saying to the human race, for the first time, an official intelligence representative at a high level from the US government is saying publicly, we are not alone.
We're definitely not alone. Absolutely, the data points empirically that we're not alone, yeah.
Do we have bodies? Do we have species of
Well,
non-human?
naturally, when you recover something that's either landed or crashed, sometimes you encounter dead pilots. And believe it or not, as fantastical as that sounds, it's true.
While we all grow more intelligent by reviewing all the presented evidence behind the UFO-UAP phenomena, it's apparent the release of more government decoys is inevitable. We see now, almost weekly, more of these so-called whistleblowers coming forward. And one can't help but wonder why the same method of testing Bob Lazar was subjected to in 1989 with having a polygraph test being performed on him isn't being presented with any of these witnesses when their story is aired on the selected news agency. I want to leave you with a follow-up clip of the Booga, Colombian sphere that was recently retrieved by a farmer and now has had further analyzation done. The research findings are certainly remarkable.
La mínica del microscopio tiene 8 LEDs. Si me permiten, voy a presentar aquí una. En la cámara pueden ver que son 8 LEDs. Las pueden contar. Cuando el microscopio se acerca a cualquier lugar donde existan esos polímeros, dentro del polímero hay una estructura cristalina, que es una fibra óptica. Viéndolo desde el punto de vista atómico, todos los átomos se alinean perfectamente y se compone y se forma como una especie de vidrio, perfectamente, o sea, pero puro. Y entonces cuando tú acercas la fuente de luz, la luz pega en la superficie de ese cristal, la luz penetra, se va por la fibra, pero también refleja las fuentes de luz.
O sea, esto es el polímero. Sí. Y todo esto es la fibra óptica.
Todo donde ves el reflejo de luz, de los luces, es fibra óptica. Está casi completa la fibra óptica y tiene un pequeño revestimiento que puede verse en negro. Y lo demás es la profundidad.
¿Cómo sabemos que es fibra lo que está ahí adentro?
Porque ya se comprobó, Jaime. En el reporte que vas a recibir en 3 días, la universidad te va a decir que es una presencia de fibra óptica y van a venir con un experto de fibras ópticas a nivel mundial. Esto es, ¿cómo se tomó? En el Ecuador hay puntos negros. El científico, lo tenemos por ahí también grabado, raspó con una cuchilla especial con la finalidad de sacar pedacería muy pequeña y se guardó en una bolsa muy cuidadosamente. Esta pedacería, que fueron como 6 microgramos, se llevó a un microscopio electrónico de barrido. Ahí se proyectó, se aumentó miles de veces. Se podía ver el raspado, la fibra enrollada por el raspado, pero a su vez se encontró pedacería de fibra óptica que rompió con el raspado. Ahí nos dimos cuenta que había fibra, no se veía así, se veía toda rota. Ahora sabemos que lo que está proyectando esos reflejos es fibra porque se...
O sea, tenemos evidencia física.
O sea, al momento de saber que hay fibra, con la prueba que hicimos, los reflejos que vemos, sabemos que fibra no es otra cosa.
¿Y qué significa esto?
Pues que esto es tecnología. La fibra óptica, de 20 diámetros, tiene para diferentes fibras.
Son de muchos tamaños.
Las pequeñas sirven para transmisión de información a larga distancia, transmisión de datos y de imágenes, y las grandes son sensores, según los catálogos, sensores atmosféricos, de agua, de tierra, de materiales y mucho más.
Y hay cientos de ellas, miles de ellas.
Está repleto. Entonces quiero aclarar, aquí existe un cristal, como acabo de mostrar en el vaso. Cuando metemos la luz refleja los LEDs. Porque aquí hay un cristal que es un cristal que está en forma de cordón.
¿Es silicio? ¿Es óxido de silicio?
No es óxido de silicio.
¿No? ¿Qué es?
No, es una fibra óptica. No. Simple y sencillamente es un...
¿De qué está hecha la fibra óptica?
Pues está hecha muchas veces de cristales, pueden ser a lo mejor sí de silicio, pero muy puros y ordenados atómicamente para que pueda ser un medio continuo de luz y de información. Si hay irregularidad en su constitución molecular, no funcionaría. Y al momento de que nos lo refleja, estamos viendo que es un cristal perfecto, porque nos refleja fielmente la fuente.
Bueno, pues es exactamente, pues aproximadamente 31 años, Philip Corso publicó en un libro que la fibra óptica había sido extraída supuestamente de naves de características extraterrestres.
Nomás quiero aclararle a la gran familia, por favor, no duden que es fibra óptica. Está comprobado en la universidad. Punto. O sea, no hay dudas.
Bueno, pronto vamos a tener a uno de los expertos número uno.
Y firmado y sellado por nuestra máxima casa. O sea, se descubrió, no lo descubrieron, ellos lo descubrieron y tenemos que ser evidentemente fieles a lo que está descubriendo la ciencia y respetuosos también.
Muchísimas gracias.
Pero la fuente lumínica del microscopio tiene 8 LEDs, ¿me permiten?